Welcome to the American Dream. I'm Patrina White, your host.
And I'm Charles White, your co-host.
Today we're here in Kingwood, Texas, one of the many communities that make Northeast Houston a great place for families to live, grow, and thrive.
For 45 years, Blue Tide Aquatic has helped generations of young athletes serving families in Kingwood, Humble, Atascocita, and communities across Northeast Houston.
From first-time swimmers to young athletes swimming year-round on a high level.
Blue Tide Aquatics is much more than just a swimming program for families across Northeast Houston.
Today we're taking you on a journey through our featured story, the Blue Tide Legacy, Lane by Lane.
Come along with us inside the legacy of Blue Tide Aquatics.
Today we're here with the head coach of Blue Tide Aquatics, Coach Frank DeMaria. Coach, what's behind the vision of Blue Tide Aquatics?
Sure, yeah, and we're entering our 45th year of operating, which we celebrated earlier this year. But I think swimming in the Texas in general and in the greater Houston area is very popular. There's always a need to be safe. There's always a need to serve the community, and I think when you look at the greater Kingwood area, swimming is very popular. From high school swim all the way down to summer leagues. When Blue Tide was started, the vision was to kind of serve that need, which has become a highly competitive, nationally ranked program, ranging from learn to swim all the way up to athletes this summer representing Blue Tide out in California at the highest level of 18 under swimming.
Awesome.
It's something that we're very, very happy to serve and be a part of, something I hold very dear to my heart.
That's amazing. It's a great legacy to continue. Coach, we've already seen practice for today, and we still have some athletes in the pool. We see their commitment all the time. What does that look like for a Blue Tide Aquatic athlete?
Sure, and I think what's really cool about our program is we have varying levels of commitment. Going, as we mentioned before, going from Rising Tide, which shows up 3 days a week, our youngest competitive group, all the way up to high performance. And this morning, you guys got a chance to look at a little snapshot of a high performance practice with us with BTA, and that commitment is pretty serious. Those athletes practice anywhere between 14 to 16 hours a week, doubles between club and high school. It's very, very serious commitment, but we also try to keep it as light and playful as possible. They clearly love it. They clearly are committed. And I'm glad to be a part of that journey and help those athletes through that process, whatever those goals are.
Coach, I know you've had some of the athletes since they were very young. What does that journey look like for them, and what does that look like for you?
Sure, and it's something that I'm very fortunate to be a part of. We have some athletes in the program that are 15 and 16 years old now that I had the pleasure to coach as 9-year-olds. And I think what's really cool is when you start to coach an athlete that young is just the trust that's established. And especially in a sport like ours, where it does take a deep level of commitment to be successful. And I think that's what's really neat is when you can establish that trust and more importantly, that relationship with them at that young age, that's something that carries through. What the expectations are, that evolves a little bit, and that relationship evolves a little bit too. And I think that's what's really, really neat about on my piece of that for my journey is just how that relationship evolves. Whereas a 9-year-old, it's very much, we're smiling all the time, we're goofy, right? Playfully serious. And, we still get to be playful with the older age, but it's a little bit more their journey, and I'm here to guide them. They're in the driver's seat. I help steer them. That's my job, and that's kind of how I look at that.
Thank you, Coach, for having us here today. We definitely enjoyed seeing the swimmers as well as interviewing you today, so we appreciate it.
My pleasure. I'm glad to be a part of this. Thank you so much, guys.
We want to thank Blue Tide Aquatics for allowing us to share their story with you today.
Thank you for joining us right here in Kingwood, Texas.
I'm Patrina White.
I'm Charles White.
We'll see you next time on The American Dream.